Okay, we want to talk more about this with Jordan Bonaparte. He's the host of the podcast Canadian Gothic podcast, and that covers Canadian true crime and mysteries. And we've reached him in Halifax. Jordan, it's great to have you on the show tonight. Thanks.
Thanks for having me, Sarah. I wish it was a better occasion than the one-year anniversary of Jack and Lily's disappearance. Shocking to me that much time has passed.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that is what leads us to the conversation, right? The fact that this has been an entire year and that so much mystery and so much is still unknown. When you think about the fact that there's been the year that has passed, and I know I've listened to you on your podcast and the details that you've gone through whenever there's the developments. I mean, what stands out to you, I guess, as we approach this one-year anniversary?
To be honest, like what stands out to me is just how baffling of a mystery it is and how no possible theory or explanation seems to make sense. Like there are many theories being floated around and many ideas people are sharing and discussing. But in my experience, and I've done this, if you follow any of them for any length of time, you hit a brick wall where you just say, like, that doesn't make sense. But all that to say, there are 2 children missing and something happened. Yeah,
you know, and I've heard you talk about this too, and the RCMP have said it. There are so many theories, and the RCMP are only interested in, and rightfully so, factual tips. But I think the public, having followed this and been captured by it and concerned for these 2 children, maybe rightfully so, have thought, well, has someone thought about this? Like, you know, everybody kind of wanting, I don't think it maybe always comes from a bad place. It might come from a place of trying to be helpful. Have there been any, you know, I guess, theories or new facts that have come out sort of recently?
Yeah, honestly, there has been so little in the way of new information or facts or even tips that have any credibility whatsoever. If you're one who spends time online, it's the majority of what you'll come across is he said, she said type of information that has no source or likely no credibility to it. Really, what we know about Jack and Lily's disappearance and the RCMP investigation into it comes by way of the original search and seizure warrant applications that were released, I believe, thanks to CBC's reporting. The original search warrants that were approved by the courts to obtain things like the stepfather Daniel and the mother Malaya's phones, their banking information, you know, all these various things early on in the investigation, when they were made public by CBC and I believe some other outlets that were working with CBC, that really gave us the first glimpse of what the RCMP was doing and what they had done. And by way of that, we were able to kind of maybe connect some dots to try our best to understand what their theories could be. But really, since then, there's been very little. I think it seems to be an endless cycle of finger pointing followed by ground searching in the area surrounding the children's home, and all of the finger pointing in the world and all of the ground searching that's been done over the last year, neither of them seem to have led to Jack and Lily or to anything of any value, at least in the eyes of the public.
Yeah, well, let me just follow up by asking you about the ground. I mean, the ground search has always focused primarily in the wooded area around that home. What's happening in that area? I don't know if you often or ever get out that way, but what do you know about volunteers who might still be looking or people in the area who continue to comb for clues?
Yeah, well, it's, you know, now is the best time of year for ground searching because we're at the time of year in, you know, the very early spring where the foliage isn't yet on the trees. There's no leaves on the trees yet. So you can get a good look, and there's areas that over the summer when a lot of the searching was happening, areas that would have been a lot harder to pass that you can access now. So there is some, I guess, some hope that the search this time of year possibly could lead to something, but nothing has. The very early searches were the ones that were fruitful in that they found like a part of a blanket that led to some further investigation, and they found what they thought could be a child's boot print that could potentially be linked to Jack and Lily. But other than that, a tremendous amount of ground searching by both civilian search crews as well as, you know, professionals, dogs, you know, like the scent dogs. There's been incredible amounts of it, but nothing. And I think anyone who spends a lot of time with 4 and 6-year-olds will probably tell you that they're not going to make it that far. It seems to me, in all my experience, that if something was in the woods, it would have been found by now, and it probably would have been found very close to the home. And that hasn't happened. But the one thing that leads me to think there could be more to it is just the fact that these searches continue, and the RCMP continue to reference the ground searching. And I think if they were able to rule it out, the investigation, at least in the eyes of the public, would have moved on further than the forests surrounding the home. But that doesn't really seem to have happened. But all this to say is this is an incredibly high-profile case, especially in that area. So anyone from that area or even visiting that community is involved in searching one way or another, just keeping their eyes open. But then on top of that, you have these organized groups that are conducting civilian searches where they're, walking to the woods and trying to leave no stone unturned. And this is even after the professional ground search and rescue teams were in there and scent dogs were in there finding nothing. So I have a hard time believing that all of these people over the last year have missed something.
When you think about it, and I won't be able to have to cut this short, but there aren't many missing persons' stories that captivate attention the way this one has a whole year on now. And if there is a glass half full, maybe that is it, in the fact that we are still talking about this and there is still attention paid to it, in part thanks to you, Jordan Bonaparte. I really appreciate it.
No, I'm thankful to be here. Thankful that you're spending some time on this case. Well, many missing persons cases only benefit from media coverage on a major anniversary. CBC and many other outlets have been covering Jack and Lily's case regularly since the beginning. So thank you.
Thanks, Jordan.